This conference will now be recorded.
So the codes what we are going to learn here is full stack Java, and this full stack Java codes divided into some contains some categories like we initially start with core Java, or even we call it as Java SC, stands for standard edition. And the main use of going for Java SC is used to develop standalone or desktop applications. Standalone or desktop applications. The examples of standalone are like Notepad, Paint, Calculator, MS Office. All these are standalone applications. The next one will be going with web technologies. Even we call it as user interface design or even front-end design. And here we go with the contents like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, TypeScript, TypeScript, then XML, JSON, and Angular. Once we have done with these web technologies, we enter into the advanced Java. Even we call it as Java EE. Stands for Enterprise Edition. Stands for what? Enterprise Edition. And this is used to develop web applications. So the meaning of web applications are like Gmail, Amazon, Flipkart, Facebook. All these are web applications. Then we enter into the next category of our codes. Very, very important one, frameworks. So any project you take nowadays, we are going to make use of frameworks in that. Then here we are going to learn two important frameworks. One is Hibernate Framework and one more is Spring Framework. Before we go to Spring Framework, even we discuss about web services, and even we go with microservices after Spring. And microservices we do using Spring Boot. So under the Spring Framework, we go with the modules. We go with the modules like this is a major important one. We go with Spring Core or Bean module. We go with the Spring DAO module. We should be very good enough with the DAO module. It's because it's mainly for database connections. And here it goes with three submodules like Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, where we integrate with Hibernate, and Spring Data JPA. We go with the Spring MVC, mainly used to web applications. Then Spring Boot and Spring REST. Right. So these are the modules we'll be doing under Spring Framework. Then after Spring, we go with microservices. Then during this course, we'll be even discussing some of the real-time tools like JUNIT, Maven, GitHub, Postman, Lombok, like this. Okay. Right. And the duration of our course goes with approximately 55 hours. Goes with approximately 55 hours, or you can consider 55 classes. And the time of our class, is Monday to Friday at 8:15 a.m. IST. The classes will be Monday to Friday at 8:15 a.m. IST. So remember, for US or Canada, it is Sunday to Thursday. Please take care of your time zone. whatever the time you have joined today, now you can join the same time. So for US or Canada, it is Sunday to Thursday. Okay, right? And the class is getting recorded. Then once we have done with the class today, I'll be sharing my email ID. So to that email ID, please send a test mail to me. The people who have already shared their email IDs, no need to send it once again. Okay, so once I get your email ID as a test mail, I'll be taking care of sending even yesterday's demo class and even today's class. It's a regular process every day. Right? Yeah. So anyone having any questions up to here? Right.
Hey Raj,
Yeah. Yes.
are we going to do practicals?
No, not
during
today.
the class? No,
Not
I
today.
mean in general, not just today.
Yeah. So today also we won't enter into the practical part. So today and even next 2 classes. So for me it will be Wednesday.
Okay.
So the 2 classes will be theoretical only from Wednesday. For you, it will be Tuesday evening. So there we start with the practical part. Okay. So everything I'll show you how to download, how to install, everything I'll show in the class. Once we have done with the class, you can do it from your end. Okay. Right. So per year, you need not do any installation part. After showing in the class only, you can do from your end. Yeah. Hello, Krishna. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, Raj. I can
Yeah.
able to hear you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Can I know who has shared the link to you?
Sorry, Raj.
Yeah. Can I know the reference name? Who has shared the link to you?
1 second, I will check it and
Okay, no worries. You can even keep it in the chat message. Go to meeting. Okay. Or once before we end the class, you can mention that. Okay, Krishna. Right. Now, let's begin with today's topic. So before we enter into any programming languages like C or C++ or Java or .NET or Python, we should know some of the basic terminologies what we use in the program. So today objective is we'll be learning the programming concepts so that from the next class onwards, when I use this terminology in our Java programming, we should be able to understand these terms easily. So today, let us go with programming concepts. Right. Now, let us start off with the first term, program only. As we are going to start writing the programs, first of all, we should know what is a program. So how to define a program is like a program is a set of statements. A program is what? It's a set of statements used to perform a task. Used to perform a task. What do you mean by task here? The task is like finding area of a rectangle, finding total marks of a student, finding net salary of an employee, adding a book into the library, booking a movie ticket, booking a flight ticket, depositing an amount in the bank, like this. Okay, these things only we call it as task. To do that, we write the programs here. Now, so when you are writing the program, in that programs, we use some of the concepts over there. Like the first one is comments. what is this comment is like? Whenever we are writing the program, we should elaborate our program in our own words, so that even ourselves or even some other people sees our program in future, we should be able to understand our program in an easy way. So for that only we go for comments. So that only we call documenting a program. The meaning of documenting a program is we should be able to elaborate what is the purpose of the program, on which date you are writing the program, the developer name, like that. More elaboration of your program we do in our own words, that we do by using comments. So you can say comments are used to document a program and ignored by the programming language. So programming language will not see what you are doing in the comments. And we are having two types of comments. They are single line comment and multi-line comment. Multi-line comment. So when we go for single line, the symbol is // and for multi-line, the symbol is /* and end with again //. Like example, we say // to find area of a rectangle. So just we are elaborating that the code what we are going to write, in that we are going to find area of rectangle. To go for multi-line comment /* and you can say to find gross salary and net salary of an employee, like this. So this is multi-line comment. So more elaboration of your program, it's mainly to document, we make use of comments. So by seeing the comments, we can easily know what we are doing in the code. The next one is keyword. The next term is keyword. The meaning of keyword is like, whenever we go with any programming language, the language goes with some predefined words where the language can understand directly. Those words only we call them as keywords. So you can say a keyword is a reserved word or predefined word whose meaning is known to the language. So when it's a language, it is programming language directly. And some of the examples of keywords are like most programming languages supports like int, float, char, if, else, while, do, for, class, private, public, like this. Okay, I've just mentioned some of the keywords. So we'll be discussing all these terms once again when we enter into the Java basics in depth. Right? Now, the next term here is variable. Variable. The meaning of variable is like, whenever we want to store some data, like a roll number, whenever we want to store data like roll number, we require some memory space to store the data. If you want to store some name, we require some memory space to store name. If you want to store something like salary, we require some memory space to store salary. So the names what we are giving to the memory spaces, these names only we call it as variables, and variables are mainly used to hold the data. The names what we give to the memory space only we call them as variables. So variables are the basic building blocks of program. Without variables, no program. That much important they are. So you can define a variable like, a variable is an identifier, means a name which allocates some memory space. And some of the examples of variables like roll number, then student name, net salary, amount, like this. customer name. The next important term is data type. The next important term is what? Data type. The meaning of data type is like, once we allocate memory space for variable, like example age. In age, what type of value we store? Something like 20. So a numeric value without a decimal point. A numeric value without a decimal point, we call it as what? Integer. A numeric value without a decimal point, we call it as what? Integer. Okay. Then if you allocate some memory space for name, and in name we generally store some collection of characters, some alphabets, some collection of these characters, we call it as string. The data type we call string. Then if you go something like height, in height we store a value something like 5.9, 5.9, a numeric value with a decimal point, we call it as float. We call as what? Float. That means the type of data what variable holds, that only we call it as data type. You can say type of data the variable holds is called as data type. And some of the examples of data type like int, char, float, string, like this. I'll be doing more elaboration of all these terms once again when we go with the basics. So before we enter into Java, when I use these terms, you should be able to understand these terms easily. That's the reason I'm discussing here today. Now, let us go with the next one, declaration of variable. Declaration of variable. So why we need to declare the variable is, without allocating memory space for variable, we cannot store the data. So in order to allocate memory space for variable, we have to declare it. So what is the need of declaration is, in order to allocate memory space for variable, we need to declare the variable. And the syntax of declaring is, syntax means rules of a language. The rules of programming language, like we are having grammatical rules, no? Here we call syntax. The syntax of declaring a variable is, we have to go with the data type, then variable 1 comma variable 2 comma, like that. You can say variable n and end with semicolon. Like example, we can say int a comma b. So when you say int a comma b, then it's going to allocate memory for a variable and memory for b variable. And what type of data we store in this AB? Only integer values. We can store only what type of data? Only integer values. That's the meaning of data type here. Then, if we say here character C, so it's going to allocate memory space for character C, and in this we can store only its value, a single character only. We can store only single character. Character means a value within single quotes. Then, if we say here float f, then it's going to allocate memory for f variable, and in this we can store a value with a decimal point, a numeric value with decimal point. So to allocate memory spaces for variable, so that we can store some value into the variable, we need to declare the variable. Without declaring variable, it won't allocate memory space for us. And when you are declaring variable, we have to mention the data type before the variable, what type of data the variable holds. So this is very, very important for us. Any questions up to here? Anyone? right? Now, let us move to the major concept here. Method or function. Method or function. The meaning of method in Java, we use the term method. In C, C++, we call function. So the meaning of method is like a method or function is a subprogram. It means it's a part of the program which is used to do a specific task. A specific task. Like example, we want to find area of a rectangle. When you want to find area of a rectangle, we are going with a method name like area rect, and we have to end with the parenthesis and open and close curly braces. Means the method begins at this open curly brace and ends at closing curly brace. This curly braces we call it as scope. Scope means where it starts and where it ends. Then now when we go with the method name, after method name we have to end with the parenthesis. So when we end with the parenthesis, that means this is a method here. This is a way how a method or function looks. This one, the name of the method, parenthesis, and open and close curly braces. This is the way how method looks. Then now in order to find area of a rectangle, what data do we require? What data
Length,
do we
breadth.
require? Very good. We require length and breadth. Then, so the data what we require to perform the task, that we have to pass in between this parenthesis like this. Int length, comma int breadth. So this length and breadth, see we are providing the data type so that it allocates memory for these variables. This length and breadth, we call them as what? Are arguments. We call them as arguments or parameters. This length and breadth, we call them as what? Arguments or parameters. The input required to perform the task that we have to pass in the form of arguments here. Then, now find area. What's the formula for area? Length into breadth. Now, since we are using a variable area, so to allocate memory for area variable, we have to declare it. Without declaring, we cannot use a variable. We have to declare the variable compulsory before using. Now, once we find area, now understand carefully. This we call it as defining the method. Defining the method means you are writing some code inside the method. Now let us call the method. Calling means using the method. Calling the method. How to call the method is like this. Area rect, and you can pass the value 10, 5. So this you are calling. When you call, we end with semicolon. Now when we say area rect 10, 5, 10 goes to length, 5 goes to breadth, then what will be the value of area will be here? What is the value of area?
50.
50, right? The value of area is 50. This result, this 50, the result, I want to give it back to this method. I want to give it back to the method. So how to give that area value back to the method when you call? How to do that is by using a keyword return area. So when you say return area, this result 50 will come and store into this method name. Now, if I take one variable like int area once again here, and if you print this area, what it is going to print for us? 50. What it's going to print here? 50. So when you call here area rect 10, 5, 10 and 5 will go and store into length and breadth. The value of area will be now 50. If I want to give that area outside, the result outside of your method, we use a keyword return. So this area value will come and store into this method. I'm assigning to area variable and printing it back.
Sir, you are declaring two variables with the same name, like inside the function you wrote int area and outside it also int area. Will that be a problem?
No problem at all. No problem. Okay, no issues. Because this is a different scope, this is a different scope. Okay, so when you are coming out of scope, we can even declare same variable once again. No problem at all. Right, this piece of code we write in some other method, this piece of code is another method. Okay, both different methods, no problem, we can use same variable names. Now the value area what you are returning, this area whatever you are returning, this what is the data type of this area variable?
Int.
Integer. So before the method name we have to mention the data type what you are returning. Before the method name we have to mention the data type what you are returning. This only we call it as return type. We call this one as what? Return type. So in Java it is compulsory to mention the return type. In C++, Java.NET, we have to compulsory method the return type of methods. So what is the point? The return type of area rect method is integer. The return type is what here? Integer. Now, if you take the same method, and here I don't want to return, I want to print it the result here only. I don't want to return this value of area. I want to print over only. So if you are not using any return keyword and if you are doing only some print operation here, if you are not giving any value outside of your method, then we have to use a keyword here, void. So when to use keyword void? When you are not returning any value outside of your method. So void means no return type. Void means what? No return type. Okay, right? So these are the basic terms required to enter into any programming language, mainly Java or .NET. Mainly for Java or .NET, these terms are important. Because when we go for Java or .NET, we go with the methods concept at the beginning only. Any program you take, we make use of methods in that. So without having idea on the concept of method, entering into Java will be difficult. That's the main reason why I'm discussing the programming concepts today. So you should know the concept.
.NET also same methods we are using in .NET.
Concept will remain same in .NET also. Some small syntax differences will be there. Okay.
Okay.
The terms will remain same for any programming language. Okay.
Sir, once can you explain void?
Void means if you go with a method, if you take a method and in that method, after doing calculation, you are not returning any value. You are not returning any value outside of the method. If you are not returning any value outside of your method, that means you are not returning anything. Then we have to use a keyword before method void. Void means no return type, means you are not using any return keyword at the end of your method. If you are not using return keyword at the end of your method, then we have to use void here. Got it?
Oh, yes, sir.
Right?
Thank you.
So many examples. So whatever I've done, just nothing today. Okay, just using the terms. So a basic idea of these terms. And as we start with Java, we are going to make use of all these concepts so many times. So these all things will become nothing for you. So whatever I discussed today, that will become like not 1% for you finally. These all terms are nothing for you finally. Okay. So within 1 week, these terms will become nothing for us. They are very simple terms like ABCs for us. Okay. Right. So any questions, anyone?
No, sir.
Right. So let us stop here today. And next class, remember, it will be for most of you, it is Sunday evening. For most of you, it is Sunday evening. For me, it is Monday morning. Same link. Whatever the link you are having now, you can use the same link to join. And from next class, we will be entering into Java. So where I start with the Java introduction. Next class also I won't take much time. I'll be taking something around half an hour to 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, where we are going to do Java introduction. After that, from the next class onwards, the time will get increased. Slowly we will be increasing, and slowly we'll be increasing the concepts of code. Right?
So can I have your mail ID?